Felicia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the May 19th Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward. I don't see Jeff.
No, Jeff's not here.
Michael Safone, 4th Ward.
Stefan Cracker, 5th Ward.
Ann Church in 6th Ward.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town with.
Sarah Ryan, Vandewater and Vandewater.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Town Board meeting. The first item on tonight's agenda is a public hearing to discuss motor vehicle service facilities and the moratorium extension. Number 2 is a resolution proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Number 3 is authorize the supervisor to sign field use agreements with the various leagues in the town. 4, appoint Jasmine Lambert as permanent part-time police assistant. 5, authorize Vassar College fireworks. 6, accept a certificate of attendance of Tony DeQuanio. 7, accept certificate of attendance of Romeo Nasser, Bill Leahy, Tony DeQuanio, Anthony Stradka, and Carl Whitehead. And 8, authorize the tax cert settlement of Malabar Realty. 9, authorize the tax cert settlement with SPAC and Partners. And 10, waive park use permit fees for the Jewish Federation for their senior learning lunch bunch at Creekside Park. And we have one special consent, and it's for the town to apply for a local stewardship planning grant to support Hudson River shorelines for New Hamburg. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 1.
So
Second.
moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here to discuss public hearing number 1? Public hearing number 1 is the extension for moratorium on motor vehicle service facilities.
Jim Reeves.
Jim, go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Reeves, 215 over Rocker Road. What I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the town board for their efforts in drafting up the new filling station laws. Just want to thank you for doing that. And I would like to support an extension in the moratorium until we can have some public hearings in regards to the new draft of the law. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Linda Wright.
Linda Wright,
Linda Wright.
can you unmute yourself? There you go. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, Linda Wright at 217 Over Rockland Road. I want to thank you for the town people and the town board for everything you've done for this proposal of the new law that's going to go through. We hope it does, but thank you for all your hard work. And I'd like an extension on the gas station moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doreen.
Doreen?
Yes, I also would like to speak in favor of the extension of the moratorium. I really think it's important for the town board to examine how these types of projects affect residents. And again, when you buy a house in a residential neighborhood, you really aren't expecting impacts from commercial businesses. So I think it's important for you to take the time to examine this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Timmy, anybody else?
Nope, that was it.
If not, motion to close.
Linda Mack, I would like to speak.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Linda Mack, I live at 206 Over Rocker Road in the town of Poughkeepsie. And just what Doreen said, well, first of all, I appreciate your work on this moratorium. I hope you continue it until you examine the full impact. And like Doreen said, when you move into a residential area, you expect it to stay that way. Aside from all of the health issues and environmental issues of having a gas station with, many homes within 500 feet of this proposed gas station. So I hope you continue to do the right thing, and I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Linda.
Anybody else?
Doesn't look like I see any other raised hands.
Okay. Motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Pardon me, is this public hearing going to be closed or adjourned?
Closed.
Okay.
Motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Carlos?
Resolution number 1, being enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a public hearing held on the 19th day of May, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt as a local law an extension to a temporary town-wide moratorium on the development of motor vehicle service facilities, including a gasoline filling station or sell gasoline in the Town of Poughkeepsie, which local law is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the Town Board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said local law, and does direct that said local law be spread across the record as if in fact it had been read verbatim. And whereas the Town Board has previously declared this local law to be a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and its implementing regulations 6 NYCRR Part 617, period 5C 36, SECA, requires no environmental review, and whereas by memorandum of, and I don't have a date here. My
There's
co-
no date because the planning board meeting is not until tomorrow,
Okay, so by memorandum of the Planning Board, Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board has advised that it takes no position regarding the adoption of the proposed moratorium, and whereas a written recommendation dated was received from the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development stating that the proposed local law was a matter of local concern.
Right.
Whereas the town clerk has notified the clerks of the surrounding municipalities of a public hearing pursuant to General Municipal Law 239NN, and whereas the legal notice of this public hearing was posted on May 6, 2021, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on May 9, 2021, now therefore be it enacted that this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
So move. You want to go ahead, Jim?
Yes, pardon me for interrupting before. It's my suggestion that the board not close the public hearing and adjourn the public hearing
So
to
June
the 2nd of June.
Due to the fact that we haven't heard from the planning board.
Exactly. We did hear from the Dutchess County Planning, and that it was a matter of local concern.
Yeah.
So, but the planning board does not meet
Till tomorrow, yeah.
So do we amend this resolution?
No, I
just reread it.
I would table the resolution till the 2nd of June, and I would, by vote now, orally, move that the public hearing for tonight be not closed, but adjourned until the 2nd of June at 7 o'clock p.m.
So I hereby make a motion to table this resolution.
So moved. A second?
And
Second.
adjourn the public hearing?
That'll be the next vote.
Okay, third.
And I make a motion to adjourn
Public hearing.
the public hearing until June
Second.
2nd,
7
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Second. Second?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can you just tell me who seconded both of those, please? Thank you, Mike. And,
Thanks, Jim.
no problem.
That brings us to the end of our public hearings. That brings us to the regular agenda. Is there anybody that would like to speak on any item on the agenda? Like to make a motion to suspend the rules? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Doreen?
So, yeah, Jay, I have a question on number 9, the tax settlement for stacking partners. So it wasn't really clear to me. So their assessment was originally reduced, and I guess it said $1 million, but was there subsequent action that now reduced it to $950,000?
That's where it's going to. It was, 1.3 to 950,000, reduction of 400,000.
Right, but it had already been approved at the April 21st meeting, so did they, was there another court settlement or something that changed it again?
Not that I know of. Is that anybody else?
No, I don't know the answer, I'm sorry.
No, Doreen, I don't know the answer to that, so we'll address that when we get to that one there.
Okay, thanks, that's it.
Can we turn up the volume on that? I want to hear the other people.
Is there anybody else? Make a motion,
Anyone
resume.
want to speak on anything else?
Good.
No, nobody's showing their hand.
All right, make a motion, resume the rules. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas mental health is essential to the well-being and vitality of our families, businesses, and communities, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, with 1 out of 4 Americans and 1 out of 5 children affected by mental illness, and whereas more people die from suicide in the United States than from traffic accidents, and estimated 22 veterans die from suicide each day, and whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health services from seeking help, and whereas education, compassion, and awareness about mental health can change negative attitudes and behaviors towards people with mental illness, and whereas each business, school, government agency, law enforcement agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, on behalf of the Town of Poughkeepsie, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And be it further resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie also calls upon all Town of Poughkeepsie residents, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental illness, and reducing stigma and discrimination, and promoting appropriate and accessible services for all individuals. And be it further resolved that the National Alliance on Mental Health, NAMI, Mid-Hudson, is hereby authorized by the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, to tie ribbons on the walking path along Willoughby Boulevard in the Town of Poughkeepsie and at Town Hall, Poughkeepsie Town Hall. So moved.
Second.
Do I have a motion second? Any questions? I just think the ribbons were a good idea that they felt confident they can go out and about and put them up again this year for awareness. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute field license agreements between the Town of Poughkeepsie and the Town of Poughkeepsie Little League Girls Softball, Inc., Town of Poughkeepsie Soccer Club, Inc., Poughkeepsie Mid-Hudson Babe Ruth, Inc., and Town of Poughkeepsie Little League, Inc., in substantially the form presented, and be it further resolved that executing these agreements involves ongoing town administration and is a type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
Do I have a motion second? Any questions? This is just normal operating procedure every year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Jasmine L. Lambert to the position of permanent part-time police assistant with the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department at the grade 6, step 1 salary of $22,056.64. Cents.
It's per hour, 22.2.
$22.56.64, whatever percentage that is, per hour, which is, appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law, effective June 7th, 2021, and be further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application from Vassar College to include a fireworks display at its Founder's Day event to be held on Saturday, May 22nd, 2021, with the rain date of Sunday, May 23rd, 2021. And whereas the applicant has notified their local fire department, and whereas a certificate of liability insurance has been filed with the town clerk naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has hereby approved the applications as submitted for a fireworks display to be held on Saturday, May 22nd, 2021, 9 p.m. with the rain date of Sunday, May 23rd, 2021 on Vassar College property, Raymond Avenue, Poughkeepsie, New York. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Resolution number 6, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the certificate of attendance for Tony Diaquani for a 2-hour educational for participation in the New York State Winter Webinar entitled Zoning Board of Appeals Overview, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the certificates of attendance for Rocco Romeo for webinar training presented by Dutchess County Planning Federation entitled Zoning for Food Trucks, and Robert Nasser, Paul Leahy, Tony Diaquani, Rocco Romeo, Anthony Strachan, and Carl Wade for webinar training entitled Planning and Zoning and Introduction, copies of which are attached. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of the tax surcharge proceedings instituted by Mountain Bar Realty LLC, property located at 798-802 Dutchess Turnpike, 13469-6262-04-571-014-0000 for the 2020 tax assessment roll as shown on the attached consent judgment. And be it further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, County Assessor Jennifer Munn, Kyle Barnett of Van Water LLP, to sign such papers as are necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Who seconded that? I didn't hear you.
Mike.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Whereas by Resolution 421, Number 5 of 2021, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie authorized settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings instituted by SPAC Partners LLC for the property located at 56 Enterprise Drive, 1346089-6060-04-922413-000 for the 2020 tax assessment roll, and whereas the consent judge settling that tax certiorari had the incorrect assessment, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings instituted by SPAC Partners LLC for the property located at 56 Enterprise Drive, 13468-96060-04-9222413-0000 for the 2020 tax assessment rolls as shown on the attached consent judgment, and which now reflects the correct reduced assessment of $950,000, not $1 million. And there be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, Town Assessor Jennifer Munt, and Kyle Barnett of Vanderwater LLP, to sign such papers as are necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yeah, question. They're saying the property went down $400,000 in value over the course of 1 year.
Yeah, it goes, Stefan, all these commercial properties, in a case like this, it's been going down constantly because the building's been vacant for like 15 years, and now it's getting constantly worse. There's not a tenant in the building, and they are going that much.
Right, well, they've owned this thing for probably, 10 or 15 years. and
They've-
done nothing with it, so, honestly, it's, how many acres is that property? It's got to be at least 2 acres, right?
I'm gonna say it's like 3, if I remember.
Right, and it's right on Route 9, it's got it's the old IBM Education Building, correct?
Yeah, it's off of Route 9. It's down behind the CVS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, this one, I just don't see that it, I would imagine if somebody offered $950,000, they would sell it for that.
Oh, no, they wouldn't.
And-
No. You're absolutely correct. They wouldn't sell for that much money, but when they come in these commercial properties, that's the problem we have when they use their profit and loss base. It's no different than the Sears and the Galleria Mall. The same thing. The building's not in that bad a shape, but you're stuck because it's a profit and loss statement. It's not like, it's done in other directions. That's the killer of these places that are kept vacant like that.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I don't agree in the process because the fact that somebody's not trying and trying to rent it out, they come in at a lower number. You know, I've seen a couple apartment complexes who've done the same thing, kept the rent down, so that way, that by keeping the rent down, they can keep their assessed value down, and that does work in the tenant's favor to get more affordable housing, but it doesn't help us out. But at least there, somebody's benefiting. This one here, nobody's benefiting but the property owner.
Yeah, they just done nothing with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we see a lot of them. Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And
Motion passes 4-1. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is here authorize the Park Facilities and Program Director to issue a permit and waive the park use fee to Karen Hockhauser on behalf of the Jewish Federation of Dutchess County Seniors Learn and Lunch Brunch Program for the utilization of Creekside Park on the following Wednesdays in June: June 9th, June 23rd, July 14th, July 28th, August 11th, August 25th, September 1st, and possibly September 22nd, contingent upon receipt by the town of certificate of liability insurance in form acceptable to town, naming the town as an additional insured. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions on this?
yeah, I just want to say that the Learn and Lunch program is a good program. My father has participated in that in the past, and Karen Honkaster does a great job with the Jewish Federation. So.
And we've also discussed with them that if somebody needs that park for a different reason and is willing to rent it that day, that we'll pre-notify them not to. And I think with some of the COVID restrictions dropping down, by the end of September, they may be going back inside, so they may not be using it the whole time, but this just covers them for the summer. And I think this is beneficial to our seniors. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Resolution number 11. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items, to wit: number 1, authorize by Director Welty, apply for local stewardship planning grant to support Hudson River shoreline for New Hamburg. And be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie desires to undertake an engineering study of recurrent flooding from the Hudson River in the hamlet of New Hamburg, and whereas the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's Hudson River Estuary Program is soliciting grant applications for local stewardship planning to support, among other things, Hudson River shoreline communities, efforts to adapt land uses and decision-making to factor in climate change, flooding, and sea level rise projections. Now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor of the town of Poughkeepsie is authorized to apply with the assistance of the town's grant writer for $50,000 in grant funding through the DEC's Hudson River Estuary Program for the preparation of an engineering study to examine the regular and increasing flooding experienced in portions of New Hamburg and to make recommendations for mitigating the impacts of such flooding. To be it further resolved, town of Poughkeepsie will match the state's contribution with a $7,500 in cash plus additional in-kind contributions of staff and volunteer services or other eligible forms of applicant share. And be it further resolved, this planning work is a type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any, Doreen, anybody like to speak on any item? Doreen?
So Jake, can you just tell us how much flooding was there in New Hamburg?
What was it?
Is this repeat? What?
No, this isn't a repeat. This is a different grant.
No, I'm sorry. I meant like, do they have repeated flooding episodes?
Oh, yes, Doreen, every time, like Superstorm Sandy was one of them, but even this winter over on River Road floods, the park down there floods. There's 4 or 5 houses on that end that flood quite often. The Yacht Club, which is on the end of Water Street, floods. The end of Water Street floods quite a bit. The Yacht Club's been underwater a few times, and there's a couple of houses down in the end of Water Street that are low enough that they also flood down there. But River Road is the one that floods the most and comes over and covers our park in the back of 2 or 3 of the residences. Actually come up at times into the Metro North Park a lot and into the creek down there also. And some of that property, Doreen, down in the Hamburg along the park is actually a floodway. So you know the restrictions to a floodway and what we can and can't do. So before we touch and try to do anything, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out that May is Wetlands Month, and I know, the town is updating their, open space plan, natural resources inventory, comprehensive plan. As part of that, there are some model local laws that the New York State Department of State has put out. One of them is to increase resilience for things like sea level rise, storm surge, flooding, erosion. And, I don't know if anybody from the Comprehensive Plan Committee or any of the Climate Change Committee has looked at any of those things, but, managing floodplain development, that's another thing. So all those are out there. And again, we need these laws and we need to have them actually, in effect. It's not just enough to have them. So we really need the planning board and planning department to really pay attention to these issues, and especially if you're spending the money, whether it's grant money or not, you want to make sure that, basically you're getting your bang for the buck. So, all right, thank you.
Yeah, Doreen, grant money, and I'll agree with you 100%, just to take the money is not the reason behind grant money. People always say it's our money, but if we're not going to use it properly, don't bother taking it just to take it. Anybody got anything else? If not, a motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Carlos.
Resolution. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following. Collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law to discuss matters which are exempt under the Open Meetings Law, including judicial or quasi-judicial matters or matters subject to the attorney-client privilege. And be it further resolved that no action appropriating money will be taken. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. I'd like to invite our comptroller, Charlie Hamburger, into the session. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night. Town Board goes into executive session 7:27 p.m.
We'll open up the conference line in
5 minutes.
about 5 minutes.